Thank you so much for staying with the Daily Report. We are still here with PS Susan Mang'eni, PS for MSME, here in the State Department of MSMEs in the Republic of Kenya. Catherine Simaloi is still on sign language interpretation. PS, still on Amos, he asked, even as we talk about the credit repair mechanisms, he said, was the government bank guarantee removed for SME and micro small enterprises removed?
Was
the government bank guarantee removed for SME and micro small enterprises removed?
Well, I really don't understand.
Okay.
The question.
Amos, please, if you could.
Amos, wherever you are, I wish you could expound more.
But then let's focus the bigger question.
Let me focus on the first question which he asked about the credit repair, whether we were able to repair the credits of many Kenyans. Let me say this, at the time of the launch of Hustler Fund, we had close to 8 million Kenyans who had been blacklisted by credit reference bureaus. Now, there is a Japanese saying on the same, it says, once discredited, always discredited. Now, what probably Kenyans may not know, and especially the people at the bottom of the economic pyramid, is that when it comes to blacklisting, once you've been blacklisted, you are likely to remain in that default status even for more than 5 years. You will remain there for a period not less than 5 years, even after you have repaid. So you can imagine, we had about 8 million Kenyans, and I'm assuming that majority of them were young people.
Yes.
Probably they're about 18 years of age, or between 18 years to 35 years. You remain in that default status, you know, for that period of time. It means you cannot borrow more, and you cannot even borrow affordably. So that's what it means. Every time when you go to the banks, and nowadays the bank have introduce risk-based financing, which is on individual basis. So they look at you and assess you on individual. So the kind of interest which they are going to charge you is based on your own individual assessment.
Yes.
Individual. It's not like a blanket interest rate. So you can imagine, when they go back to their history, they find you are still in default status, regardless of whether you had repaid your loan. So we realized that many Kenyans then were being condemned to economic death, if I can use that word. You are condemned. You can't borrow, and therefore you cannot participate effectively in the economy. So the Hustler Fund initiative was to disrupt that. And His Excellency the President, what he did, among the very first thing that the President did after taking office, was to have a meeting. And this was during the first week after taking office. He had a meeting with all relevant parties, all concerned parties, and these were the banks, especially those who are in the digital financing space, and most of our banks actually are in that space, and also the telcos, because those are the infrastructure. And then he reasoned, he reached out and reasoned with them and said, look, we cannot, there's no way we can rebuild our economy if that significant number of the people is outside there. They cannot be productive. And yet, you know, these are people aged 18 years and above who are in their productive age, if I could put it. And so they're outside there. They cannot participate effectively, because if you cannot access credit, there's no business which you can do.
True.
Then you remember also around that time, we are just also smarting from the corona pandemic and many other shocks, including the droughts, including the high inflation, the geopolitical, you know, issues that are happening, Ukraine, Russia. All these issues do affect the micro, the MSMEs, and especially the population at the bottom of the economic pyramid. Some people think they're just global issues, but they do have an impact to anytime you disrupt the supply chain, then you also disrupting the environment of doing business, and we start feeling it. So again, those people, probably majority of them, it will not have been by their own, you know, willing to be in the CRB. It could be maybe situational. So as a government, our work is to facilitate our population to rebuild their capacity so that they can be served better. So then the Hustler Fund also brought in the credit repair opportunity. And this is why we made it universal. You remember during the initial period that some people even tried to go to court to say, you should just have given this facility to only hustlers. Then I was asking myself, so who is a hustler in the definition? You know, because, and we made it so much universal, anybody who could just access *254#. We even zero rated. I mean, you don't need any airtime, even if you are on Okoa. And regardless of the telco that you have subscribed in, you can still access Hustler Fund, is zero rated, *254#, you signed up. What we needed is to establish first of all, the credit history of Kenyans, make them become more visible, so that then the mainstream financing sector, the banks, can serve them well and can serve them adequately. So as per his question, whether this is being achieved, yes, I can say this is being achieved. And today, as we speak on Hustler Fund platform, especially on the personal loan product, we have a repeat customer base of 8.8 million Kenyans. Now, of course, you cannot be a repeat customer if you are not in good credit standing. And like I've said, when now we applied our Hustler Fund behavioral rating system, we have close to 6 million people who are rating in A's and B. The beauty with this is that all this work, we are doing it jointly with the private sector, because we are leveraging on the infrastructure of the banks, commercial banks. We're also leveraging on the infrastructures of the telcos. So the experience that we are achieving in this process is an experience that even the private sector, especially the financing institution, are getting aligned to. So when it comes now to graduation and reintegrating our beneficiaries who we think are good borrowers back to their balance sheet, I mean the banks, the commercial banks, it will not be, they will not be strangers. There will be people that they have seen through, you know, nurturing their credit rating, and therefore the level of acceptability of serving these people is likely to be very high. Very high. So have we achieved that? Yes, we have achieved.
Okay. I see Zainabu, please keep your questions coming as well.